Hello everyone and welcome to another Project Spark Let's Build video! Last time we looked at the in-game tutorial, if I can say it, tutorial, on how to build a basic game, but this time is the start of a brand new series in which I'll be aiming to create a game of my own, which I've decided to dub at this point Chirpy's Night Adventure, but I may change the name later because that sounds more than a little bit cheesy, but this isn't going to be a totally regular series because I have other series that are like a higher priority, but I'll be updating this occasionally whenever I've built a bit more of a game, essentially. And I'll release it for general play once I have a demo that actually has an ending. And don't expect the first demos to be a masterpiece. They'll just literally be things that work for people that are curious. But yeah, enough introing, let's just jump into it. So, we've got the initial world here, that the game has thrown in for us, but we're going to mess around with the world options a bit, because we're not just going to take the standard preset, we want to see what we've got. So, you can change the sky in the properties area. I think the evening clear looks pretty nice for sort of a sunset. Night clear looks beautiful. It's very pretty and I decided to keep it. We're going to have a night adventure. Saturated just kind of burns your eye out. Antique just goes with the whole sepia look. Obviously got black and white. So there's a few things you can do there. Reminds me of the Halo Forge a little bit. You can change the brightness of the world, which I'm doing now. And also the angle which the sun is facing. Actually, I don't know the difference between the sun side and the sun angle. It's generally quite confusing. But yeah, you've got the different types of water there. I think I just elected to keep with the clear, calm A. And with this option here, which I'm fiddling about with, you can change the level. So that's handy to do if you suddenly decide that you want to, obviously, just raise the level a bit. So, we go into this menu now to look at an ambient track for us to use for a bit of music, I believe. And as you can hear, we have some very interesting sound effects. Not generally impressed with any of them. So we're going into like the general sort of world music section now, and I've decided to start flicking through the sound effects again. This bit is sped up now. Just waiting for it to find out. One particular one I really did quite like. It's just funny hearing all the different sounds, but sped up. But the one I went with in the end was this one. Magic Light Pulse, small loop. Having it in the background reminds me of like Spyro 2 in like the home worlds, and it was just really sort of magical, and it was really nice. So I just kind of like, I mental bookmarked that one, and I also found some music as well, which is like just the general sort of Project Spark game music that people keep using. Oh, music LP, yeah, the music LP tracks, Linkin Park, they made their, I think, is it Guilty All the Same? They made their music video in Project Spark, so it's got the Linkin Park tune in Project Spark for you to use as music. It's like, copyright! Oh yeah, of course I went with the Magic Light Pulse for the ambient track. So, at this point, I've decided that the world size looks more than a little bit small, and I wasn't particularly impressed with it. So I was just looking around for options on how to actually change the world size, and I thought maybe I might have to start the world again in order to locate that. So I exited the game and started creating a new world. But this is one
choices? Press
from a
the
preset.
X button, or click Randomize to see more options.
Shush! Stop talking. So, as you can see, you've got like the different choices here. You've got the hills, and you can change the water height on it. It's really good if you don't want to, mess about creating your own world from standard. Creating your own very custom world. You can just create this sort of preset one, which works quite nicely. And you've got the different choices of landscapes you can use. So, in my case, I wanted to use flat, really, because I wanted to just use it as a bit of a base.
This is a biome. It magically paints textures, props, and life into your worlds with one easy stroke.
Good to hear. Right, so you've got a choice of what biomes you can do, but as you can see, some of them do cost. So you've got the alien asteroid, you've got the desert, or the only one that you can pick without actually spending any goddamn money is forest. which is the one we decided to go with, I believe. Just change the water height again. You can make a flooded forest. That sounds quite interesting, actually. I might consider that at one stage, just if I could, like a mangrove sort of region. And obviously, you can pick the like the time of day as well. So, and just change like the sun angle. So here we decided to go with nighttime again, and here we've got like the sort of a preset forest magically coming into life. That is fantastical. So that's what we're starting with in this particular
Want to
case.
dive
However,
in deeper and customize your character? Press the Y button or click.
and this is where you pick sort of your main character. You can throw in like a preset character as well, but we're not going to bother because it didn't have like world sizing options, which was what we went there for in the first place. So we just decided, fuck it, we'll go back to what we were doing to start with. I don't care, right? And so we're going to start eroding away the world now. So just getting rid of everything that we had here. There we go, just scrubbing it away like a bad memory. So just generally making the brush a bit bigger there. And just fully intense, and we're just going to completely get rid of it because we want to start completely from fresh. Because I've got the idea now, the basic idea for what I want to do. So Chirpy's night adventure is essentially going to be a load of various sort of floating islands that have just been really sort of nicely sculpted to look rather pretty. And the idea is you float as a bird, we fly from island to island. And I think at this stage I'm deciding you're probably going to be looking around for all the bird eggs, because I noticed that there's a bird egg prop, so we're probably going to look around for that. So here's the starting platform, which is just rather helpfully, decided that it's going to be sort of a grassy section, which is nice. So we're just making the start now, but we'll go down into the water. I know I said that these are all going to be floating islands. I think this is going to be the only one that isn't actually floating. I think this one's going to be just like sort of set in the ground as your starting point. Just decided to make a really sort of fucking ugly, very unnatural looking thing at the bottom there, so I decided to get rid of it. Yeah, good going, mate. Well done. Just clean up there. Okay, and also, so we'll just expand this area a bit out here, just to make it a bit bigger for the bird. We don't want like the tiniest starting area ever. We want it to at least look a bit interesting. And you can see how easy it is to make somewhere that looks a bit natural, really. So here we're just smoothing it out a bit so that the top doesn't look really jagged and horrible. Now it's time to add a hero. We did have one that was already in the water, but no, forget it. Okay, so at this point we decide that we're going to start looking for things to put on the island. So as you can see, there's all of these different sort of items that you can throw into the game. These are all the ones that are free, and look at how nice they are. There's just some really interesting ones, some rather primitive shapes, or you can go with sort of crazier ones. You can make houses, there's weapons there, there's items, there's natural things, picnic table even, interesting, signs and such. So after we've had a look around to see, all these different things, we're going in for what we're actually going for, a tree. So what we want is a few trees to make the starting area look rather nice, and I can't remember if I'm actually going to keep the tree this big. I think I decided to. There we go. Oh, look at that. Nice big tree. So this is still the starting area, as you can see. We're just changing a few things around. And I'm forgetting how to place items. This did happen a lot. Like, I went to place something, I ended up deleting it instead. So I started getting really annoyed at it. There we go, so we're just scaling that to size, having a few differently sized trees, because if you have them all the same, it's going to look like everything was just copy and pasted. I mean, everything was copy and pasted, but that's kind of besides the point. You don't want it to look that way. Pardon me. So, branches. Just like a few points where I think, well, yeah, we'll add a little bit extra onto the tree just to give it a bit of character. Just twirl it around there, give it a spin. Deleting it again. Good going. So we'll just turn that around and place that on. So we've got a few trees now to start with, and we're also going to place this random swirly branch on as well, because I thought that might be a good idea. What this tree is missing? A swirly branch. So now we have a really sort of odd Tim Burton-esque tree. That's great. So, now we're looking for the main character in the series. So obviously, Chirpy's night adventure is going to be with the bird, the warbler bird, and he's just going to float around. Fly around from island to island, just snap in there, and there's the starting point. Plop him down. There. So, warbler bird. Now that we've placed it, there's quite a few sort of options you can give your character. There's a character studio, where you've got the recording studio, where you can animate the character with, your own body on the Kinect. So if you sort of do a bit of a jig and you want that character to move like that, it will work like that. But the bird isn't configured to work with the Kinect, so that's unfortunate. But I can imagine that not really working properly anyway. There's no really sort of customizable items for a bird either, like changing its hair or things like that. I think that's more reserved for human characters. Now, we have the bird's brain. So, looking at it, again, quite complicated because it's one of the preset AI brains. So here, this is the first page of it where it detects a few things, and then it'll fly off if it detects one of the items. I can't remember what it is, but as you can see, it's got a lot here, and a lot of these mechanics are to do with flying, which will come in handy for me later. But of course, me being the dumb fool that I was at the time of recording, I just decided to delete everything and start again. So yeah, great, good going. So instead we're throwing in the sort of a preset sort of things that we were shown how to do in the tutorial, where it was just running and jumping. So I'm basically giving the bird the same powers and abilities, moving-wise, as we had in the tutorial. I'm not giving it, like, fireball and, like, attacking powers. We're not really going to need that. And I'm not sure I really want the game to have much combat. If I could find a way to make it, like, quite logical for a bird to do combat, I might do. But we'll just see. So I'm just forgetting what I actually did here at this point. I think I was looking around for the camera, and I completely forgot where the camera was. Just, so that I can program the camera to actually follow the bird around. Otherwise, it'll just literally stay in one place and we won't get anywhere. So here I am, just completely being hopeless, flailing around. No idea where the camera is. There we go, follow camera. So, it's time to test it. It's got all the music in, it's got the sound effects. It's got the chirping bird. Although I'm not sure it's actually chirping at the moment, because I did probably take that sound effect out when I deleted the brain. So there it is, it just moves around, the camera follows it around, and we've got this nice little starting area, which I will make more detailed with, like, rocks and maybe a couple of bushes if I can. And just maybe a couple of other pretty things. Who knows? So, at this particular point, I decided, well, the bird needs to fly. So how do we do that? So I was completely clueless. I didn't pay attention to the bird's brain, like the already pre-programmed brain at all. So I didn't know how to make it fly. So I was here just giving it a few ideas. So here we go. Idea number 1, where I make it jump at flying speed. So I give it an absolute kangaroo power. It just really does bounce from tree to tree, and although that is quite interesting and might be good for like a different game, it's not exactly what we're after. But yeah, I got really quite frustrated that I couldn't figure out how to make the bird fly. The rest of the video was actually just going to be me sort of trying to figure that out, and it was going to be really boring, so I've cut all that out. Instead, next time I am going to actually try and make a decent attempt at trying to figure out how to do it. Now that I've actually studied the bird's brain a little bit, so you'll be seeing that next time. If you guys have any suggestions as to what to include in the demo, in the map, do let me know. I am eagerly awaiting your input on this. But yeah, so that is all I've got for this time. I'll just see you in the next video when I try and figure out how to make the bird fly and finish off the starting area. So like and favorite the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to me if you haven't already, and I'll be seeing you in the next video for the mate. Bye the wrap. Toodles.